Now, our next guest has been making us laugh for many, many years.
From The Late Show to Kath and Kim, Tony Martin has done it all. Check it.
Welcome to The Late Show, live around Australia.
Well, Mick, I don't know if you know this, but it's actually Padre Pio's day. And it's a pity they couldn't get a picture of the Padre. They've had to use one of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Now, you're out of time. 2, 3, 4.
Sharon!
To Don Bradman, if that's what they do in the cricket, that's what he'll be doing.
Who have you got to play the role of the Don?
Karl Stefanovic.
I know you want me. I know I want you. I know you want me. I know I want you. I know you want me.
Oh, those two together, a dynamo,
Sure
a dynamic
is.
duo. Tony joins us now from Melbourne. Big round of applause for Tony, everyone. There he is.
Hello.
There he is.
I hope you're not going to ask me to do any Spice Girl songs.
Do it.
Got nothing. Sing a zing ha. That's all I know.
It's very good, mate. Very good. Hey, how you been?
Good. Good. What, have you heard something?
Yeah, I have. No, I did hear on the grapevine that you were such a hit at the Sydney Comedy Festival. You've been asked to do an encore show. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going back. I'm doing a lot of stand-up these days. People ask me what's it like doing stand-up, and the great thing is, you know, on television you have to wait till costumes are made and sets are built and funding to come through, whereas on stand-up you can just think of something stupid and just say it. It's much like being Eddie Maguire. No, that's unfair. That is unfair. I used to work with Eddie Maguire back in the late 80s when we did the D-Generation radio show. He was actually the sports reporter on our show, and he was a lovely man. I don't remember him trying to drown anybody.
So what do you make of the whole thing? Because it's big news in Melbourne.
I've no idea. It's all related to football, so I don't understand what he was saying.
But you got a joke in, and that's all that matters.
A cheap one.
A very good one.
Tony, you've had such a massive career spanning, I think, 7 decades now.
Whoa.
Yes, 7 decades.
You start on Kath and Kim dating Sharon. What a great role.
Yeah, people will often just yell "pash rash" at me from a passing vehicle. There I am, wearing a fake beard. And of course, you know, I was a love rat in the show. I was, you know, I sort of betrayed Sharon in the end.
Broke Australia's heart, as well as Sharon's.
That's right. And of course, Magda was on Current Affair recently, and not trying to be offensive, but she described herself as a fat old lesbian. Do you remember that? And friends of mine love to point out that she did not start identifying as a lesbian until after our affair on Kath and Kim. So apparently it's all my doing. But you know, Magda actually gave me my start in TV back in 1987. I was a writer on the D-Generation, and I always remembered there was a discussion in the room about how they needed someone who wasn't in the cast to play a nerd. And I always remember Magda just looking over at me. And that was it. That was the beginning of my on-screen career.
Good taste, good taste. Now, I was concerned recently to hear, Tony, that you were hospitalised by your cat. Do tell.
That's true. It's very sad, but I got a cat from there. There's the culprit right there. That's him, officer. Oh, there's my cat watching a bird documentary. Obsessed with bird documentaries. There's the calendar shot there. But that is my cat Shorty, who we got from the Lost Dogs Home, which has a cat department. I urge anyone looking for a cat to pop down the Lost Dogs Home, despite the name. And he's only got, you can see there, he's only got half a tail. Luckily, it's the half attached to his body. And he actually bit me on the hand. And it swelled up. I went to the hospital, and I was in hospital for 3 nights on a drip. It's actually quite serious to be bitten on the hand by a cat. It happened to Mossy from Cold Chisel. And I always remember getting home after 3 days, and he's like, "Where have you been? Where's my food?" Because there's so many. I don't know if you're across this, but there are so many cat food brands now. Have you noticed that? There's one now called Inspirations. Have you seen that? Inspiration. What is it inspiring the cat to do? Sleep for 23 hours a day, as far as I can tell.
What about those ads where they come on and it looks better than your own lamb roast? And you just go, man, that cat's eating good food.
I often just chuck a bit on a sandwich. Why not? It's inspiring.
Hey, Tony, it's Richard here, mate. Political campaigns are always
rich fodder for people such as yourself. We got one here, we've got one in the States. What do you make of all that?
Well, Donald Trump's dropping in the polls at the moment, and I think it all goes back to the downturn started when he refused to front up to the Iowa butter cow. Were you across that?
Yeah.
It's a cow made of butter, and if politicians don't, you know, sort of genuflect to it, apparently you're finished. So that was his big mistake.
Well, speaking of politics, what about back home? I know you've been following this fake tradie story.
Great story.
What do you make of all that?
Well, did you see the earlier version? There was an earlier version where he was sitting at a piano with a candelabra drinking a port and talking about offshore tax havens. So they actually toned it down for this version.
His fancy watch, though.
Yeah, he does have a fancy watch. Look
And
at him,
people are
he's mad.
saying, you know, oh, it's not an actor. And you go, surely no actor is that terrible. So I think, seriously.
We can't find him, Tony. We've put a call out this morning. He's got to be somebody's brother, son, husband, next-door neighbour.
probably at work.
No one has said that they know him.
Well, the suggestion on the internet seems to be that he may have been killed after his gold chain got sucked into that bandsaw. There's quite a few occupational health and safety issues in that ad.
Oh, very good.
I
Hey,
like him.
is it true you don't have a mobile phone, Tony?
No, I don't have them. I hate mobile phones. You know, I was at Captain America recently, and people were sitting in the cinema, and there's like a massive action scene going on, and there was 3 people in the cinema I spotted just on their iPhone.
Yeah.
I think they were actually watching a downloaded version of Captain America. They just annoy me.
Shopping for cat food, perhaps.
Yeah.
That's right. But I am on
Fine.
Twitter, and people always say, "How do you do Twitter when you're, you know, you don't have a mobile phone?" But I do it on my computer, which is an old black and white Amstrad with a floppy disk. It takes a while to put it. It takes a couple of days for the tweets to appear, but it does work.
You're going to dial up in
That's
between.
all right. That just means they're very considered. Tony, it's always great to chat with you. Thanks
Thank
so much
you.
for joining us. And
Cheers.
we'll make sure we put all the details of Tony's upcoming stage show on our website.
Very funny, smart man.
Yeah.
All
Cheers.
good.